What's going on, guys? Well, another flashlight video for the flashaholics out there. Today we're looking at a Thrunite light. This is the Ti4. This is their first Penlight in their series of flashlights, which is very cool. I recently bought this on Amazon. I also bought a couple of the Penlights because I want to do some comparisons. I wanted to kind of see which was the best one out there. A lot of recommendations. I did purchase like 4 different ones, including the Thrunite one, to see which one I liked the most, because a lot of people have requested a lot of, especially like EDC updates. I'll see comments and I'll get messages about, hey, your new EDC, you know, light's cool, but I'm kind of thinking about a Penlight or a smaller light. You guys know I like the single AAA flashlights for EDC. Also, you know, if you want more light, I'm a huge fan of, you know, single CR123 lights. Once you get into double CR123s, it's a little tricky for me just because of the battery source could be a little unstable. That's why I like the 18650s. But anyway, getting back to, you know, Penlights, they're very useful. A lot of people love these for their EDC, you know, setups, and I get tons of requests for it. So it's finally time to get a bunch, especially once I saw Thrunite came out with their own. So this is the Ti4. Do get the little box, no frills here. The only accessories are some O-rings, of course your paperwork there. All right, so this is running on 2 AAA batteries. All right, going to unscrew the front portion here to access your battery compartment. You can see I'm running Duracells. I just prefer these. I like them. You can see obviously that these cells are, if I get my thumb on there, still juiced up, nice and new. All right, make sure those are positives up. As far as like the overall design, I mean, most Penlights are very similar in their design. The basic thing that you're kind of comparing them, you know, between each other is their modes, outputs, and cost. They're all shaped like pens, hence the Penlight title that they get. I like how they did the little bit of a tapering on here, if you could tell. A little bit smaller here and tapers out towards your business end here. Let me zoom in and we'll talk a little bit about that LED here. I don't have to zoom in all that much because such a small diameter head there. We're looking at a Cree Xp G2 LED. Again, kind of standard across the board with a lot of different you know, flashlights these days. The technology is amazing as it progresses and as these new LEDs come out. All the different companies use them, but yep, this one's sporting the XP G2. As far as the modes you have on here, basically 4 different modes. You have your Firefly Mode, which Thrunite is kind of known for. That super low mode. In this case, it's 0.3 lumens. You get 137-hour runtime. Then they have a low and a high. Okay, the low is 24 lumens and actually seems a little bit brighter than 24. You know, I have to kind of second guess that. It doesn't seem like, you know, 24 lumens isn't all that much, but that's a heck of a lot of light coming out right now. I kind of think it's more than that. But anyway, then they're high. I have to remove my hand, otherwise the whole thing's going to black out. It's 252 lumens. Okay, when you cycle through again, you go to strobe. Super friggin' awesome. 252 lumens. I mean, I have to say I'm continuously amazed at the flashlight, you know, community in general. The technology, it's constantly advancing. I know a lot of people out there who have Penlights. They love them. They use them for a couple of years. Once you use a flashlight for a couple of years, all of a sudden you see that for the same price that you paid for your flashlight, you can get something that's twice as bright, you know, or twice as light, or whatever the you know, case may be. It's absolutely amazing how fast the technology advances in this market. But anyway, yeah, 252 lumens. The price tag on this particular model is 26 bucks. Right now, it's extremely hard to beat. And with the other ones that I bought on Amazon, I'll maybe do comparison videos to kind of show in between. I do like this one the most. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, and if I do the comparison videos, because I might do individual reviews, or at least on a couple of them. I know I got a lot of requests for the Preon, the P2. There's another one that I purchased recently, and I directly compare it to this, so I might do a video on that. All right, so as far as negatives, there's really only one negative to this light, and that is the fact that once you turn this on, focus on my thumb and how much I'm actually moving it to adjust these different modes. It's barely being moved. Now, I see that as a negative because there's some people out there with medical conditions, and if you have an issue where you know, your hands are shaky, or you don't have the capability of barely touching something, like some people may go to adjust this light, and you just can't help but over push, and ends up shutting it off, or, you know, locking into a constant on. All right, so just barely moving that, I see that as kind of a negative. I like to see a little bit more movement. It's really not that big of a deal, and I'm kind of nitpicking here with this one, but again, I know a lot of people out there who are elderly or they happen to have some kind of medical conditions with their hands, and it's just hard for them to just barely move. You know, they might, you know, tend to push down a little bit too hard, and that could be a little frustrating in trying to get to certain modes. That's really the only negative I found with this light. I mean, there's so many different pen lights in the marketplace right now. And again, that's why I picked up a bunch to do comparisons. And you will see other videos on these style lights. If you do like the idea of a pen light, it's easy EDC, it's light, takes AAA batteries, very easy to find, very easy to replace. Now, another thing I wanted to point out, again, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here because I've talked about this numerous times in the past with different Thrunite models, but I really like the fact that they have that Firefly or Moonlight mode. All right, in this case, again, it's 0.3 lumens. Everyone wants a flashlight that's really bright, and really bright is great until you need to do something up close. Can you read that? All right, because when you first put it on there, I mean, you have so much light reflecting back at you, you can't make out any detail. That's where those low light modes really help. That's the purpose of these, okay? So you can get in there and look at something up close or look at something in a semi-lit environment. You know, you don't necessarily need, you know, 200 lumens plus to get the job done. So, but at the same time, I don't want 30 different modes either. You know, I don't want 3 lows and 2 mediums. You know, having the Moonlight, a low and a high, very simple for me. Anyway, something I want to point out again is the usefulness of that Firefly mode. Of course, it does have a pocket clip, as most, if not all, pen lights do. They do mimic a pen. That's the idea of having a pen light. You're not trying to disguise or anything. It's just the simplicity of having it pen shaped. There's a lot of things that hold pens, and you can put this like in a briefcase or, you know, clip into your pocket, whatever. It kind of stays out of the way, sits against the seam of your pocket. You can still reach in your pocket and, you know, grab things. You know, that's why a lot of people like this style of light. And the pocket clip does work very nicely. You see here, this is not marked, okay? I don't know if they're gonna change that in the future. The marking is on the side, on the body. And you can see they're Ti4, but the pocket clips are sterile. Now, if you don't want a pocket clip for some reason, you can remove it. You're just gonna unscrew the back here. It's very simple. All right, now it's gonna pop off. And there you go. Now again, because this is a pen light or pen style light, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want that on there. I think most people would probably prefer carrying it clipped to the pocket. But like I said, the option's there. If you didn't want it on there, you can easily take it off. So it's always good to have options. Yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say. I mean, these are very simple lights, simple designs. The only difference between this model and all the other, you know, pen lights on the market is price, what kind of coloration you're gonna get. Again, this is the cool white one. I did not see a neutral white yet, but I'm assuming that they're gonna have that available in the future. The cool white does offer, you know, more of that kind of white color, like a true white, or even in some cases, it's a slightly bluish white, as opposed to the neutral white, which is more of a yellowish white. And I do have a video kind of, you know, describing that in more detail so you guys can see them side by side. But yeah, there's other pen lights in the market. Like I said, I just bought a few of them to do videos on, and I've noticed that the other ones, a lot of them have a very bluish tint. In some cases, it's extremely noticeable how blue it is as opposed to white. This is definitely more on the white side of things. Okay, so very cool. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. You know, there's not a whole lot to say about these things. They're very simple, very streamlined. I have to say I'm really warming up to the idea of permanently using a pen light in my EDC as opposed to some of the other lights. Now, the reason why I pick other style lights, like even a 1CR23 light or like a AA flashlight, they're shorter, they're much wider, they're chunkier, they're more cumbersome, but more times than not, they're capable. And that's why I like them, because their outputs are much higher. They do have different modes, so I don't have to use all that output if I didn't want to. But with these pen lights progressing like they are, 252 lumens, it's hard to justify carrying a fatter light when this is just as capable and way more comfortable. So again, I'm very much warming up to the idea, especially now that I own a few different pen lights and I'm kind of rotating through them and trying different ones. I just really like the idea of EDCing this style flashlight over a traditional style flashlight, you know, that's fatter. Even though it's shorter, you know, it's chunkier. When I'm sitting down in my pockets, they bulge out because I carry so much gear, and I'm starting to, you know, like the idea of some of the slimmer stuff. Appreciate you watching. If you happen to have the Ti4, let everyone know what you think of yours, but I'm definitely loving mine. Very cool. So hopefully you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.